Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things paranormal, mysterious, and macabre. Today we're going to be talking about the Exorcism of Anneliese Michel. I am so sorry for the lack of videos this past week. I was visiting family out of town, and because I didn't have internet access there, I wasn't able to upload any videos. But I am back now and we're going to get right into it. Anneliese Michel was a 23-year-old German woman who in the late 1970s became the subject of one of Germany's most infamous exorcisms. The case was kept under lock and key for over 40 years until recently when new evidence came to light. This case is unlike any other exorcism case that I have ever heard of before. And honestly, after doing hours and hours of research, I cannot figure out what really happened to Anneliese. Let's take a look at her story. It was the year 1975 when Anneliese began to experience some strange symptoms that she put down to normal stress from everyday life. At the time, Anneliese was studying to become a kindergarten teacher, and she also worked part-time in a hospital pharmacy. She had always been a devout Catholic and very active in her church. But as the months went by, her behavior changed drastically. Her priest friend, Joseph Langen, said that he noticed changes in her attitude. According to him, she stopped being the bubbly, outgoing person that he knew, and instead became depressed, withdrawn, and even started drinking heavily. He also claims that her personality shifted and that she became very manipulative. In November of 1975, Anneliese began having convulsions and violent mood swings. She would thrash around uncontrollably and bite anyone who came near her. Her family was worried sick and took her to see a psychiatrist. After examining Anneliese, the doctor diagnosed her with schizophrenia and prescribed her antipsychotic medication. Over the next few months, her symptoms worsened. She became violent, not just towards herself but towards others. She tried to cut the head off of a nurse who was giving her a bath, and later bit off the finger of a police officer who tried to restrain her. It seems as though she developed superhuman strength during these episodes because no one was able to stop her or keep her down. At one point, she broke free from 5 adults who were trying to hold her down and ran down a flight of stairs where she disappeared. They found her later that night in an underground parking garage, foaming at the mouth and covered in glass shards from head to toe. In January of 1976, she was taken to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. However, after several failed attempts to subdue her, the staff at the hospital decided that they couldn't treat her and sent her home. By this point, her entire family was convinced that she was possessed by a demon and begged her doctor to perform an exorcism. So the doctor did. Father Joseph Langen arrived at the Michel family home on February 14th, 1976, prepared to fight whatever demonic force was inside of Anneliese. Before performing the exorcism, Father Langen interviewed Anneliese to see if she was actually possessed, or if she was just psychotic. During their interview, Anneliese told him that she had attempted suicide many times before, and that she believed that she was Christ and was destined to suffer for humanity's sins. She told him that demons had entered her body through a hole in the wall while she was in her room praying. Father Langen was skeptical, but agreed to perform the exorcism anyway. According to Father Langen, the exorcism lasted about 2 hours. He performed the ritualistic prayers over Anneliese and commanded the demons to leave her body. However, during the ceremony, Anneliese seemed to gain strength from the battle between her and the demon. She became extremely violent, biting and scratching the priests, as well as her own parents who came to watch the procedure. Despite this, the ceremony continued on. After the first exorcism, Anneliese's condition seemed to improve. She was calm, collected, and even conversed with Father Lang in a normal manner. He repeated the exorcism every week to ensure that the demon would not return. But each time, the same thing happened. As soon as the ceremony began, the demon would come back in full force, causing Anneliese to become violently ill. On March 23, 1976, Father Langen performed the final exorcism over Anneliese. That night, something horrible happened. One of the priests in attendance wrote in his journal that while they were performing the exorcism, Anneliese had a fit and died. However, according to him, after she stopped breathing, the demon spoke through Anneliese's mouth and told them that she will be back. Apparently, the demon taunted the priests, saying that Anneliese would be back in a new body. Later, they confirmed that the girl did die from asphyxiation, but they believed that she managed to swallow her tongue during one of her violent fits. After burying her, the priests vowed to keep secret the details surrounding Anneliese's death. Over the next 3 decades, different members of the clergy came forward with stories about the exorcism, each one of them agreeing that Anneliese was indeed possessed by a demon. However, the medical examiner who performed the autopsy claimed that there was no evidence of possession, but rather that she died from an epileptic seizure. In 2013, more than 30 years after the exorcism, documents relating to the case were made available to the public. It revealed chilling details about the rituals and the nature of the possession. The official report written by the priests who performed the exorcisms told a tale of a horrifying battle between good and evil. It said that Anneliese suffered terribly as the devil resisted leaving her body. In fact, it says that the demon taunted the priests, daring them to kill her. It goes on to say that at times it seemed like the demon was winning the battle, but then suddenly Christ would intervene and save Anneliese's soul. The diary also said that the priests noticed that Anneliese only had fits when they recited certain Latin passages. The entries also state that the exorcisms were affecting the priests psychologically. One of the priests wrote, "One can experience such a thing only once in a lifetime. The feeling of utter helplessness in the face of the infinite power of the enemy. Everyone present saw how he, the devil, mocked us, how he laughed at our helplessness." So that brings us to the question, was Anneliese Michel possessed by a demon? I honestly cannot decide whether or not I think that she was possessed. On one hand, I believe that what she was experiencing could have been explained by her mental illness. I mean, schizophrenia is a horrible disorder that affects people in different ways. I know that some of the symptoms of schizophrenia include delusions, hallucinations, and the inability to tell the difference between what is real and what is not real. So perhaps that is exactly what happened in this case. Maybe Anneliese's severe schizophrenia caused her to act out and make it seem like she was possessed. However, I do believe that there is another explanation for what happened here that doesn't involve mental illness at all. You see, the reason why I started this video by saying that this case is unlike any other exorcism case that I've ever heard of is because Anneliese wasn't acting alone. There were up to 13 people in the room with her at any given time during these exorcisms, including priests, doctors, psychiatrists, her parents, and her siblings. And not only that, but these exorcisms were taking place multiple times per week. And as I mentioned earlier, the exorcisms lasted for hours, and this girl was suffering so badly that she bit off the finger of a police officer and broke free from 5 grown men who were trying to hold her down. So what happened to her? Was she possessed, or was this all staged? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. I truly appreciate when you guys do that for me. Also, if you want to send me an ask or a message, please feel free to do so through the provided means. I love getting messages from you guys, and I try my best to reply to as many as I can. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.